Hello and welcome to a work truck webinar today. I'm excited to host this webinar and actually share some thoughts of my own. But I have the great task of asking experts questions or opining on things myself. So I love this situation where you might hear from me on a few items, and you'll definitely hear from some experts we have from Ryder, Cummins, and BAE Systems. Definitely some authorities in this space. And the title of this, our time together, is Fleet Electrification, Navigating the Road of Opportunities and Challenges. And I like that we're talking about both opportunities and challenges. I trained program manager, and you not only do you need to protect and mitigate risks and deal with challenges, but we also need to ensure that the opportunities or the benefits of electrification actually come through in the deployments and the products and the actions that we're taking. So really excited to do this with these fine gentlemen that are going to walk us through some of their thoughts from a fleet perspective, a traditional long-term major component manufacturer in Cummins, and BAE Systems, also a long-term company and powerhouse in electronics, electrification, and who have been working in the commercial vehicle space for a long time, trying to figure out what products to bring. Are very, very active in transit buses. So Derek, I think we'll probably go through some of that. So to kick it off, I'm with the North American Council for Freight Efficiency, and we're a nonprofit that works on technologies to improve both efficiency and lower emissions of commercial trucks. And our first last name is Freight, and so we deal mostly in trucks and that move goods rather than maybe vocational trucks or service trucks. I think here for today, we're talking about really everything. But as we at NACFE look at the vehicle segmentation across the different classes, and this of course are the trucks that move freight. The smaller class 2 B to 6, typically known as vans and step vans, often in final mile or definitely in city deliveries. Then we have, getting into what, traditionally I call medium duty of class 6, where predominantly we have box trucks. And really, if you look at it, those box trucks have lowered in volume over the last couple of decades, where more vehicles have moved down into vans and step vans, and we've actually seen some bigger medium-duty box trucks move into city tractors, maybe a 4x2 city tractor with a smaller trailer behind it, operating in the cities. And then as you move up into class 7, which is pretty small, but class 8, a lot of tractor trailers. And we at NACFE look at that in two major segments. I'll go to the bottom one first. What a lot of people think about in class 8, that's long haul over the road. Oftentimes irregular routes, truckers and drivers sleeping in the trucks, at least being out for a week, maybe 2 or 3 weeks at a time. And then a segment that I think the Rodney Dangerfield of trucking, kind of the not getting any respect and sort of like a hidden part of the market is return to base day cabs and regional haul. And whether that's short distances staying in the city, medium distances maybe going from city to city, or long distances where they go, literally 250 or 300 miles out, swap trailers or hit a cross dock and come all the way back, that driver being home at night, not needing the sleeper. So as we look at segmentation and we think about fleet electrification, we see this going from top to bottom, or from small vehicles on up to larger ones, as we get better batteries, faster charging, all those things that are needed for the larger vehicles. Right now, NACFE is doing our 5th Run on Less, so runonless.com, and here we're looking at a variety of solutions, but this run is focused on long haul. So we're looking at what's there in the blue boxes. So we're looking at diesel, including biodiesel and renewable diesel. We're looking at trucks and have trucks that are in renewable diesel, or renewable natural gas as well. And then the two to the right is where we'll focus some attention today, and most of our attention will be on battery electric. And then we also have some hydrogen fuel cell vehicles in it as well. We right now are in day 15 of 18 days of tracking these trucks. And so I don't have time to go through all of them, but I've selected, I think, 3 here to take a quick look. This is one of the trucks that are in the run. It's called it's being operated by Saia, the behemoth LTL carrier, and they're operating a Tesla semi. They're actually operating two in the run. One's doing city deliveries, and this one is actually being slip seated. And if you can see, it's pretty small, but the top right is, these are the 15 days of the run. We have multiple charts. These are 4 of them. I think we've got 8 online, where you can look at different aspects of how fast they're running, how much time they're charging, distance they're going, et cetera. But in the top right, that's basically California. And what you see here is this truck leaves Stockton, California at the top and drives all the way down to Bakersfield and back. That's somewhere around a 450-mile run. They do that with the first driver. They get back to Stockton at nearly 0% state of charge, or quite low state of charge. They charge that truck up for, 3/4 of an hour, something like that. It usually gets up to 40% state of charge. You can actually see that in one of the charts there. And then they go do a city route with a second driver. They don't need a full battery pack charge to get the city routes, city deliveries made. So they just go back to about 40% state of charge, and then do their run, charge again back up to 100% for the gentleman doing the long haul run in the other shift. What surprises a lot of people here is that's 465 miles one day on a single charge, with a reasonable amount of payload. This is LTL, which typically doesn't weigh out, but rather grosses out. Another truck I want to bring up is a battery electric truck that's kind of surprising me a bit, but this is a brand new one, production intent truck. There's a number of them in the States, but just emerging, and it's the fleet is Joyride Logistics out of Phoenix. They're operating a Windrose tractor. And here, what's been interesting over the first 15 days of the run is the wide stretch of where they're going. So this would be considered an irregular route sleeper truck that I mentioned earlier. And what's fun here is they did 865 miles in a 24-hour day. I'm not sure if they'll have a day this week. We finish the data collection for the run on Thursday. But here they've been finding a lot of public chargers, many of them Electrify America chargers at Walmart stores. So interesting that they can find those, stop, get enough charge to do their deliveries, and keep the truck filled with electricity to make those runs. And then finally, we have a hydrogen fuel cell truck in the run. We have 2 actually, one with Pilot in Southern California, one with Penske in the Dallas area. And these trucks are operating in a more constrained area. They're getting a lot of miles, but in a smaller area. This truck's running around Southern California. And what was interesting is 630 miles in 24 hours. So they're stopping and filling with hydrogen more frequently than the electric trucks or the diesel or natural gas trucks are. But it's impressive. And these 2 trucks have been incredibly reliable, doing the same routes consistently, high uptime, and doing well, even though the hydrogen technology is really nascent. My last slide is that we at NACFE have done a lot of work around powertrain decision making. We've got options galore with battery, hydrogen, natural gas, diesel, and even some I didn't even mention yet. And we have published a number of pieces on this and some guidance and help, hopefully, for the industry. But we tend to think about it. There's lots of consideration fleets have to have, but we kind of cull them down or boil them down to 3, and that is, what's the financial situation with moving in this one direction of one of these technologies? How sustainable it is? The board of directors and your customers are going to want to know whether this is a much more sustainable than your diesel operations or somewhat. And then finally, is it available? Do you have the equipment that you can buy? Is it and do you have the infrastructure to do it? So are the fuels available? Are the equipment available to dig in and dive in it? So keep following Run on Less, particularly if you're on this webinar, you might be most interested in the battery electric. We'll be slicing and dicing the data throughout the fall and into next winter and spring. With that, I want to turn it over to our Ryder expert, and I'll come back a little later to manage some questions.
Hello all. My name is Arun Chickmenahalli, and I'm the Director of Maintenance for R&D efforts. My last name is very easy to say, Chick like Chick-fil-A, but Chick-fil-A is closed on Sundays, but I'm open on Sundays. Chick-fil-A is closed on Sundays, for a fact. Next slide. Ryder is a leader in transportation and logistics outsourcing solutions. Ryder has 3 segments. The fleet management solution makes up about 39% of our revenues, and then supply chain solution makes up about 42%, and the dedicated transportation solutions about 19%. We employ about 50,000 plus employees. Out of that, the nerve center of our business is on the professional drivers, who are about 13,000 plus, and 5,000 technicians. These two entities, actually, these two people, drivers and technicians, really give us a feedback of how these technological changes and any new technology that is coming into the workforce can be successful, because these people really provide the boots on the ground information, which is very helpful. We have about 10.4 billion in leveraged right spend, and also 100 million square feet managed across 280 facilities. And we have over 800 plus locations which we manage across the nation. Next slide. From an advanced vehicle technology perspective, we serve customers in every segment of the business and every part of the business. We look at electrification, and then also we look at advancements in the electrification space, diesel space, and also alternate fuels. The trailer propulsion is something that we are also looking at, because decarbonization is not just with electric vehicles, but also a lot of trailer things which we can do. And then also from a carbon capture perspective, we have been looking into those aspects of how to capture carbon and also use that as potentially even a food grade carbon dioxide which can be used. Needless to say, renewables are quite large if the application is well defined. Because I give this example of 27 years back, I put a solar panel on my brother's property back in India. Today also it serves the purpose because it is used for the right purpose and the right application. And also some of the aero devices of truck wings or trailer skirts, they do improve the fuel efficiency. So we are also looking into those. All these alternate things, advanced vehicle technologies, are derived out of the needs of our customers, and also this needs to be made sure that it has a value proposition for our customers. Next slide. At Ryder, we take it very seriously on electrification or hybridization or any of the other aspects from a technological perspective. We try to understand the technology by doing a technical evaluation, by asking the right questions to the technology providers, and ensure that we have a good understanding whether can we really support this technology for the lifetime of the product. So with that in perspective, we really do a good force ranking and see that whether these technology providers do qualify our internal litmus test. If that happens, then we assess if the technology has a value proposition and also a demonstration potential. We seriously taken into consideration doing a demonstration of these vehicles with a customer in a real duty cycle or with internally in our operations, so that it has the best value proposition and a key performance indicators that we can document, and also make sure that it is serving the purpose. On the advanced technology efforts, whether it's sustainability and carbon capture or alternate fuels, we are in the midst of everything, because our customers really look at all these aspects. And secondly, some of our customers are also our suppliers, because whether it's natural gas or renewable energy or fuel efficiency or the hybrid, technology. Next slide. From a rider's outlook perspective, we, with over 250,000 vehicles, we have been at the forefront of working with OEMs and suppliers, whether it is, BAE or with Cummins or even with NACFE. We have been working with every one of them to make sure that, we have a good cadence, and also a new technology will serve our customers to the value proposition that we can bring forth. We look at short-term and long-term solutions with technology providers, and also their plan for sourcing and procurement of parts, maintenance, and the whole product lifecycle. Because when these technologies are at us and at our footsteps, Ryder as an entity has a promise to deliver to the customers, which we have been fulfilling for the last 90 plus years. So whether it is a new technology, whichever the technology can be, the Ryder's customers do expect a value which is current, and also it has to be increasing in value proposition. And then technology implementation will be based on finding the right fit for the customer operational needs, because that is so critical for us, and we have to make sure that the needs of the customer are being really met. We do this with a customer-centric technology that uses detailed telematics data to get real-time insights. And also we combine all these data streams, which are coming from various sources, to a platform called Ryder Guide, which has a unified platform, and it transposes all the data to the requirements, what really are deterministic for our customers. From a value proposition perspective, Ryder will continue to consider and pilot these new technologies when available to provide our customers with the options to best suit their needs. Thank you, and I'll be sharing some more information as we move forward. Next slide.
Thank you very much. Now we'll move to Cummins.
Uh-oh.
Babu, and I'm representing Cummins.
I think you might be muted,
Prithivi?
You might be muted.
Can you guys hear me?
There we
just
go.
A little.
Can you guys hear me now?
No, we got all that ringing going on.
It's not coming from... Can you guys hear me now?
No, it's a squealy noise going on with it. Mike, do you want to switch over, and I can take the next one and give Prithivi a minute to clear up
let's
his audio?
do that. Let's run it. We'll go to Derek, and then we'll come back to you, Brett.
Sorry about that. Technology is great when it works. The audience feedback and getting to read the room, but hopefully only have a few slides here to go through. I'm hoping to give you less of a, hopefully from a BA perspective, not as much of a sales pitch as a kind of vision of specifically hybrid or battery electric or fuel cell. It's just the whole platform electrification, the way you approach it, as to how you do the nuance of the power source itself. Lots of options out there. NACFE and Mike coined the phrase, I believe, messy. So, not sure how many people are familiar with BAE systems. Did you advance, Mike? I'm not seeing it. Okay. So BAE Systems may be a known name. Hopefully we're becoming more well-known in the truck space. We've really been in aerospace and defense for a long time, but not maybe as known as the fact that we have been also in the heavy duty commercial vehicle space and transit for coming up 25 years. So we're a large multi-market company. As you can see, 27 billion, and we cover the span of everything from aircraft to military to aerospace. But the group I'm with and what we've been focusing on for now a long time is all heavy duty commercial vehicles. Go ahead, Mike. There are a lot of components that go into a system, but if you just look at them individually, you don't get the big picture, and they don't always complement and work well together. For us, it's always been about that systems approach. So whether it's the power electronics, the mechanical integration, the systems integration, the control, how it all feels and works and drives, for us, that all comes together and needs to be thought of as a complete entity. We've been doing this for a long time, as I mentioned, a quarter of a century now in just vehicle electrification and just in heavy duty vehicles. We've got now almost 20,000 vehicles out there in service, revenue service daily. So lots of experience. A good portion of that has been hybrid. That's just where the technology was really at the time, 25 years ago. But over those, in the last, say, 10 to 15 years, we've seen more customers moving into pure battery electric or fuel cell electric. We've even had some into a more mild version of a hybrid to kind of get exposure to what is it like to deal with high voltage and orange cables and things like that, whether it's from maintenance and diagnostics. So we've covered kind of the full range. And this isn't demos. We've long since passed the phase of death by demonstration. These are in fleets where the fleet may be using 50% of their entire fleet of, say, like New York City with thousands of buses. And in some cases, half the fleet is a BAE Systems propulsion solution. So we've got experience out there. But what's come out of that is really how important that systems approach is. And we started to see some trends and some areas for improvement, and I simply say things done wrong. Go ahead, Mike. What we're seeing out there that needs to be made kind of a cornerstone, we think, is the simplification part. The example I've given before is you don't lift the hood of your truck and you see a 2-cylinder engine running your air brake compressor and a 1-cylinder Briggs & Stratton over here running your HVAC system and a 4-cylinder running your main propulsion. A long time ago, we figured out that it was better to have a primary propulsion system and then have loads and kind of simplify that down to, your core. And that's what we're looking at in the electrification space as well, is saying, getting away from boxes and boxes and a solution of boxes to simplify it down to, in our case, 2, a main propulsion and your accessory system. And we look at that saying, just the sheer reduction in weight and part count is where the industry has to go. So we started doing this, it looks like a cartoon, but these are actual products that are in production and on vehicles in service and have been for the last, in this form, which is our 3rd generation, for the last 5 years now. So it's kind of new to the trucking space, but the good news is it's coming from an area of maturity in the transit space, which is still, very high mileage, daily pullout requirements, and pretty aggressive stop-go type of use. It doesn't have the highway miles, but it certainly has the hours. Our vehicles are typically seeing 50 to 60,000 hours of service life. For trucks that travel long distances at higher speeds, their life is usually on the order of half that in terms of actual operational time. So we understand that bus and truck are very different, but at the same time, they have certainly demands that are extreme compared to, say, pass car. Go ahead to the next one, Mike. So kind of pointing back to that messy middle, while we've had a history in hybrids, we really, as I mentioned, it's the electrification spectrum. It's platform electrification from our reduced electric accessory loads or REAL system, which is a mild hybrid, to a series hybrid, and then one with more batteries to give you electric range on that hybrid, and then over to full zero emission, where we have systems that are pure battery electric, and we have quite a number of fuel cell systems out there in service as well. So I guess in this conversation, if we get some questions at the end, what I was hoping to see is somewhat of a query around, so what makes sense and why does something make sense over something else? I think that's where our history comes in, where we can kind of see the commonality across platforms as well as some of the differences, the pros and the cons. Mike mentioned at the beginning, there's the good and the bad in everything. So I think for a lot of customers, they're trying to figure out what makes sense for them. And there's choices, which can be hard. But I think the good news is that a lot of these are, fairly mature and can be very reliable and do a really good job if they're properly mated up to, your needs as a customer or as an OEM. So looking forward to conversations at the end. And hopefully Prithivi has got his audio fixed.
Yeah, are you guys able to hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, very good.
Yes.
Very good.
So I joined over the phone so that I can speak, but you guys can still see me. Sorry for it. Again, technology, right? That's the messy middle we keep talking about. So Cummins is a 106-year-old company with a place in 190 plus countries. I don't want to talk more on the history. But in 2022, we started Destination Zero as our winning growth strategy, because it continues to be clear to us and it is proving to be the right strategy for our customers, for our environment, and for the continued growth of our company. The Destination Zero is not like in one focused, one approach, or it's not like in one solution approach. Rather, it's a multi-solution approach which leverages on advancements and solutions from both our core and Accelera by Cummins businesses, along with our partners, which does a few things. We meet customer requirements, which is varied as they do real and important work. We also navigate their own energy transitions, along with the compliance as well as the requirements on emissions. We drive real-world greenhouse gas reductions, both now and also for the future. And it also helps us to grow our business irrespective of the pace of the adoption of the zero-emission solutions. And we are able to win the strategy because we do have an integrated suite of innovative technologies and capabilities. We have built very strong partnerships with both our customers, end customers, our partners like BAE, and we continue to build them. We also have a strong financial strength, which allows us to invest in some of those path-breaking technologies. Some might be an innovation where we are working through our R&D, which is our research and technology team, to develop demonstration or to think about like what it should look like after 10 years. But we also have enough engineering capacity, and we do to make sure that we are meeting all the segment requirements where we are participating in. Next slide. How we do it, it's the power of Cummins. There are 5 major operating segments of Cummins. We are split into 5 different business units. The engines, I'm part of the engine business unit, which basically does everything from engine to powertrain. We have power systems, which is gensets on all heavy-duty mining segments and everything. We have components, which provides components, turbochargers, after-treatment, braking systems to both for us and also for our OEMs and also our competitors. Our distribution segment, which takes care of all the service requirements. and Accelera by Cummins, which is the newest addition, which is focused solely on zero emission technologies, which is fuel cell, full battery electric vehicles, and also development of traction motor batteries and everything for those technologies. Did I?
Hey, are you guys able to hear me?
Derek, can you hear me? Derek, can you guys hear me?
Yeah. There's some echoing.
Okay. Can you guys still hear me? Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, that's good. Yes, we can. That's good.
Okay. Because suddenly I got cut and it said that it's going to connect me back. I'll continue. I'm sorry for the continuous disruptions. And in terms of applications, we are there in all the applications, both in on-highway as well as in off-highway. We are existent, and we feel the zero emissions or the path to zero is not going to be the same for different applications. And also, it's not going to happen at the same time. We might do hybrids in one place. We might do full electric. There might be fuel cells. There is definitely a place for hydrogen and hydrogen-based engines. And what we want to do is to be an agnostic supplier and a powertrain provider for all the technologies, for all the segments what we play in. Next slide, please. Where we come in, which is me, my team, and our organization, we take care of all the powertrain integration. We take care of powertrain engineering, transmissions, drivelines, hybrid integrations. We take care of the performance, drivability, and competitive evaluation, all the electronic feature optimization, the systems integration, automated driving systems, the technology optimization, fuel economy, and supporting certification. Why I'm putting this slide is because, again, the path to zero is really messy, and we cannot forget what we have right now and how do we continue to improve the systems and the technologies what we have as we transition towards the absolute zero. Next slide, please. Again, these are some of the hybrid options what we are looking at. I put this slide to create conversations and to create questions. These are just concepts where we have some hybrids with BAE. We have some hybrids with a few others in transit bus segment, specifically in transit bus in North America. But we feel that there is a place for hybrid in the market. What that hybrid is, we don't know. We are investigating over there. We are looking at different options. And we are also collecting voices in terms of what is the right hybrid technology for a line haul market, what is the right hybrid technology for a medium duty or an occasional market, where should we play in. That's my last slide. I can come back and then answer more questions. Mike?
Yeah, thank you very much. So, I was listening intently to all three of you and thinking through how we at NACFE have been looking at the market and so forth. And a couple of thoughts came to mind, and then I've got a pretty big question, I think, for all of you. And that is, we do have you showed it, Prithi, in the application slide it showed up to me, and that is that, it's a pretty complex market. Class 6, 7, and 8 make up about 600,000 or 500,000 units a year, or even less most of the time. And so we don't have a lot of sales. We've got a lot of applications, from concrete pumpers to line haul to all sorts of things. And, this messy time we're going through and all these solutions that are emerging, how do you guys think about that? Is it a lot? How will we handle things like multiple different powertrains in a truck rather than the good old diesel that we always kind of knew well. How is that showing up for each of you in your marketplaces? And then I've got a couple of follow-ups as we move forward. What do you think?
So, I'll take the first answer, and Derek and Arun, you guys can carry on that. We specialize in that because we are the agnostic engine or powertrain supplier for all OEMs in all segments. So I think when you say that it's too complex, I'm like, oh, that's my day job. Because Cummins thrives in making sure that we are able to be and provide an answer to every segment, to every customer. But as you pointed out, it's becoming tough. It's not one solution. That's why we are evaluating. There are some segments where we are doing few things. In some segments, we are not. We are looking at full electric in few places, transit buses, there is school buses, and there are some places where we are thinking about, like, is that the right solution? How do we go to there? Derek?
Okay. Yeah, Mike, it's a really good point, and we've seen this kind of expansion of lots of different architectures and solutions, and especially in truck where so many variants and so many vocations with very specific needs sometimes. What we've done is come up with a fairly modular solution set so that until the market really coalesces around an obvious single solution, which it may not, we have something that's fairly flexible. So our architecture allows us to put in different functions and features. If you need an EPTO, if you need a high HVAC system for sleepers, onboard power. Because of all that variation, we've come up with a system that is flexible. It's kind of like a loaf of bread with slices, and you add in the slice functionality you need.
Yeah, so I think over the years we've talked about Lego blocks and modularity will be the answer, mass customization. I do think if we have more electrical components on the truck than physical mechanical ones, it might be easier, right? You get into a little bit more flexibility with electronic components, and you can make them more easily variable and adaptable and modular. Derek, with all I think that's sort of a BAE competency. Is that sort of characterized? Maybe it's, all of this will be easier with electricity and electrical components?
It will be in some ways. It now becomes a software problem.
Yeah.
So one of the terms out there right now is software-defined vehicle, meaning you've got a lot of flexibility in the hardware, and you can flex that with software. So that's one of the things we're seeing with our product is we can deliver very similar hardware, but the software will make it perform very differently in different applications.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to see more of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Arun, I'd like to go to, but before we do that, we have a couple questions coming in, and one's kind of specific to this point. It says in automotive, there's a set of software standards called AutoSAR. I'm not familiar with that, but wondering if we have that or something similar to that in heavy-duty trucks, and or not, and is that helpful, or is that something that's required that's come in as a question? Anybody answer that?
So, hey, Mike, I can answer it because we are working on it. So the AutoSAR is the next generation of the software, which makes it easy both from an ECM hardware and a software perspective. Today, we call it as a single module ECM, as what Derek just mentioned, as we move towards software-defined vehicles, which we are not there yet. Again, that path is equally messy, similar to the hardware challenges what we are having. But as everyone is start thinking about with the availability of data, cybersecurity, functional safety, the AutoSAR is seen as the way for the future. Cummins has their own version of the AutoSAR called CSAR, which are going to be released as part of our 2027 EPA platforms for X15, X10, and B7.2. The first CSAR, or the industry norm, is AutoSAR. Cummins call it as CSAR. That platform is going to be Octane, which is purely a software and how the software is written, and which makes that software cyber secure, functionally safe, and the ability to do more than a traditional Core 2 software.
Got it. That's good. Thank you for that. Arun, back to the question of complexity and the applications will be the applications, and these technologies are coming. And basically, the question I asked that I'd like to hear your opinion on is, can we kind of handle this, and then how will we handle it? Because we have to.
Yeah, Mike, it is the nature of the business, and it is the customer expectation, because one solution will not fit all. And our customer base demands it. Why? Because some of our customers, for example, are natural gas providers. Some of our customers are hydrogen producers. Some of our customers are RNG producers or CNG producers. So when we work with Cummins on powertrain development or with BAE systems, we have to be cognizant about what value that brings into for our customer who's currently doing with diesel or gasoline or whichever that is, and then build upon the fact that, for the lifetime of the product, how can we add value while protecting the values that we already provided to them. It is definitely complex, and a lot of times it comes to the cost parity that, what it brings in. Is it just the cost parity, or, other issues, whether it is infrastructure, whether it is going to be logistics and for the life cycle of the product and other things. However complex it is, but there is always a good solution that comes out, because if the solution is very simple, everybody could solve it. So that's where the opportunity lies in. And when we put the minds together with people from Cummins or BAE or any of the other suppliers that we deal with, we come across feasible solutions which are going to be very efficient.
Right. Yeah, I think there's going to be some of these solutions that kind of become, the best one for a particular application, and sort of a class 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then they're going to need to be adapted and so forth. So, many of you brought up hybrids, and so I want to dig into hybridization for class for these commercial vehicles, whatever the class. I mean, I think one of the things these hybrids do is take advantage of the regenerative braking and be able to harvest energy like a battery electric truck can do, a hybrid can do as well. We've seen in passenger cars where, and some people thought battery electric was going to take off and win, and we've got hybrid electric vehicles that kind of offer a little broader duty, that, even in cars. And then we've got this plug-in hybrid in cars that, allows you to kind of do something in between a HEV and a BEV. So, wow, there's another group of complexities. The truck manufacturers are in the middle of all this. We really don't have one of those on this panel, but I got to believe they're scratching their heads as to how do we design in and build all these different solutions into our truck. So I guess maybe for all three of you, one at a time, I don't care who goes in what order, but why not hybrids? Why not bring in hybrids? What do you see that happening? We didn't include hybrids in Run on Less Messy Middle this year because there really wasn't any truly available to the market quite yet, but we could have maybe done it with some retrofits and other things. So what do y'all think about, in this world of messiness already, maybe adding another group of solutions in hybrids?
I can take it, Mike. With the current scenario with regards to mandates and regulations that are happening, it has really opened up a lot of provisions for us to consider hybrid technology. Because if you remember, about a year and a half or two back, with so many regulations on us and on our customer plates, we were running hard on electrification, 100%. Now, with all this pulled back, I feel that there is definitely a room for hybridization, and also the cost parity, the infrastructure, and also the longevity of the product itself, and the part compliance and part shortages and a lot of things, these technological things. So I think from our end, from a customer base perspective, we are seeing an interest from our customer base on some of these trends. I sincerely feel that hybridization has a place, but again, different segments, as you mentioned, light duty yard tractors are perfect for electrification, full electrification. But there are other applications where hybrid makes a lot of sense, and some other applications, different fuels make a lot of sense. So we definitely have to weigh in all the positives and negatives and move forward with it.
Yeah, understand.
Prithivi?
Yeah, thanks, Arun. I echo your statements. So hybrids do have a place, but Mike, as the OEMs are looking at all the different options in front of us, then adding one more option is more in terms of like what is the business case for it? Where is the pull coming in from? Today, passenger car market is a great example of like how it started full electric. The hybrid was seen as like, okay, it's going to be there. But now anyone who is buying a car, at least most people would consider that, oh, should I want to buy a hybrid or should I just want a direct, a straight gasoline car? At least that thinking is happening because there is a value proposition which has formed and which is working well for it. Yes, the incentives played a role in it, but there is a value proposition where there is a pull towards hybrid in the market. Now every manufacturer has a hybrid. The commercial vehicle space is really big, right? There is class 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then the applications are also varied. Line haul, how much of regenerative braking is available in a line haul segment where the vehicles are running in constant speed, in flat roads or mostly in flat roads. Vocational segment, there is huge opportunity. But what is the right engine? What is the right powertrain? What is the right battery sizing? And what is the total cost of ownership? What is needed so that the hybrids will become an enticing solution for a customer, like even for Ryder to consider? What would be the TCO and what would be the GHG benefit, what it gets? That's going to become very interesting, and that will drive the right hybrid solution. Because things kept on changing. The 18 months back, it was all emissions and regulations and how we have to meet certain GHG requirements. Now we are moving away from that. So the opportunities are new, the rules are also new, and we have to start driving more focus in terms of what is the right way or to define the technology in hybrid. Derek?
Yeah, thanks, Prithvi. 100% agree with the total cost of ownership being a major driver, if not the driver. And I think hybrids probably have a good story to tell there. I think the question about why not hybrids is a hard one, honestly, because hybrids are already there. Lots of them are out there, both in the light duty and our example in heavy duty. So it seems like it's a proven technology, doesn't demand infrastructure investment. It paves the way for further electrification, and it can be deployed 100% on a fleet.
Yeah.
There's 15 to 50% emissions reduction, and there's no performance restrictions. So I think
we have people. Go ahead, Derek.
No, so I think hybrids certainly have their place, but to Prithvi's point, And I think for fleet owners like Arun, that TCO model needs to be understood. Now that it's not just driven by regulations and political direction, we now have to go back to what are the realities of owning and living with this product and this technology.
Yeah, well, I kind of got a follow-on question from somebody in the audience that said that relates to this. It says, do you feel the current traditional chassis design optimized for an ICE, because that's what we've had for 75 years, does it need to be reimagined in order to support the approach of these different solutions? And they mentioned quickly that, the high mileage BEVs that I mentioned in Run on Less, actually are clean sheet of paper BEV only designs. They're not looking at being a hybrid, having an engine in, or even a fuel cell or anything like that. So anybody want to comment on that question while we still have time?
I do agree that there needs to be some new design considerations if you're just going with different technologies, whether it is battery electric or even on the CNG and some of the other applications, some of the other technologies. You have to be cognizant about the weight distribution and also how the dynamic loads are going to affect in the long run of the whole chassis. Because vehicle dynamics is something, you have it already built for an ICE chassis, which is proven to be successful. You're putting an added mass, even though the chassis can take it, but the dynamic effects are not considered for lateral, longitudinal, front and back. So a lot of times there is some amount of, ill knowledge with some of the players in space. So we definitely need to make sure, and some of the OEMs are already looking into that, and they are providing reinforcements. They are making sure that there is a new beam which is put in place to withstand those type of loads and all those aspects too.
Okay. Derek, there's a couple of BAE specific questions here. One is, what's the charging system that you would are thinking of for a BAE battery or hybrid electric system? And the second one is, what exactly would BAE provide? So what components? What would be, if this moves, eventually, what would be the components that you would supply, and how would that work?
Okay, that's a lot. I'll try and keep it simple.
Yeah, you got 30 seconds. I'm kidding.
So I said, yeah, we're largely charging agnostic. There's obviously a lot of discussions around MCS right now, but we support basically all the different standards, and whether it's a hybrid, which is charge sustaining, or a plug-in hybrid, or pure battery. So there isn't one type that we promote. We pretty much have to cover them all. And to that end, the system components that we typically provide would include everything from the battery to the traction motor, the inverter drive system, the power distribution, the accessory power systems, and the traction motor. So when it comes to the bigger things like batteries and fuel cells, we often do the integration, but we aren't the supplier.
Got it. Well, we're running out of time. I want to thank you guys. Any final comments? I mean, I think if I was to summarize this hour, it would be that, the industry is responding with a lot of solutions. And they run the gamut of like Arun, you talked in your slides around aerodynamics and renewables. So a truck that is a more aerodynamic, and truck and trailer, for instance, is more aerodynamic on some of these line haul runs and can improve from, I don't know, pick a number, 7 miles per gallon to 8 miles per gallon. That's definitely decarbonizing and more sustainable solution, hauling the same amount of freight than, and burning less fuel and hauling the freight, all the way up to more dramatic and bigger solutions like battery electric or hydrogen, where we literally have very little infrastructure to charge or fuel those trucks, and natural gas and other solutions in the middle here. I'm proud of the industry stepping up and having these solutions, and that we're in a situation where a lot of choice, and the marketplace will figure out the winners, whether those are any of these solutions or hybrids or others that might emerge. So appreciate all of your expert thoughts around all of that. It's going to be messy, as we call it, or rocky or challenging, but maybe that's what makes it fun. On the other end, it also offers for big success for some of your fleets, Arun, or manufacturers as we get this right, and as we move forward with different solutions, it'll be opportunistic for all of us. So any final thoughts from any of the three of you guys?
From where I come from where rubber meets the road, is about creating a value which is better than today for our customers, is going to be the driver for any system to take a good shape, and also bring in a good value proposition. So we are striving for that, and I'm very confident that we as a country here have good brains to make that happen.
Appreciate that. Good.
I think that the middle is going to be messy, but Cummins is well positioned to come and support the different solutions and continue to invest in those solutions. And the customer pull is very important in terms of what it is. We can come up with technologies, but if the customers don't like it, if the customers don't see the value in it, there is no point of it, right? So I think end of the day, it is going to be the product, and a product backed by not just in terms of technology, but in terms of reliability, quality, service. Those fundamental aspects cannot be forgotten. And a product with meeting all those requirements will definitely win in the market any day.
Final thoughts, Derek?
Yep. I would cite something that was said many years ago, and I can't take credit, but someone said, looking forward, that there isn't going to be a silver bullet in the future. It's going to be what they term silver buckshot. Lots of good solutions for different reasons for different people. So I think if people can wrap their heads around that and figure out what makes sense for them, that will drive the customer pull, which will then allow the suppliers and OEMs to figure out what's that best silver buckshot solution.
Very good. So again, thanks everybody. The slides will be sent to you, and we'll work through the questions that I may have not gotten to, and respond to those separately. But thank you for joining, and we'll end it there. Take care.
Thank you.